Hello, this is David D. Hilster. I'm a critical thinker, dissident scientist, and if you are not science woke, then this is the place for you. There are literally thousands and thousands of scientists from around the world who have been working for decades outside the mainstream, who have identified problems, fixed those problems, and who are working on new theories and models. You won't find anything like this on YouTube, so you want to make sure you go down below and click on that subscribe button and the little bell next to it, and you'll be alerted to when our next video drops. Well, here's the headline I'm talking about today. Black holes might not exist. So here are 5 weirder alternatives. Well, the first part of it right there, that's pretty interesting because this is more of a mainstream article and they're saying black holes might not exist. So I applaud them for that. That's really great. And of course, 5 weirder alternatives. But as you know, weirder alternatives we've had for the last 10, 15 years. They're supposed to pop out of the new Large Hadron Collider, and all they got was a Higgs boson that they invented and nothing else. So all those weird alternatives are just dying like flies, as they say. But let's take a look at them because it's pretty darn interesting. They're weirder alternatives for sure. But let's take a look what it's saying and see if there's some interesting things here. I'm going to point out a few things that you hear all the time and may not think really closely about, and you're going to find out that maybe in fact I'm going to open your eyes to it. That's why I'm here. I'm your science therapist, for goodness sakes. Black holes are infinitely wrapped in infinities, objects containing an infinitely small point with infinite density that wraps space-time to such a degree that not even light can escape. Let me point out to you the idea of light escaping only works if you have a model. I've never bought that idea because I want to know, well, is that the only thing? Just because you can't see it, there's no light that's reflected on it, so that's because light is going in that direction and it can't escape? Or are there other alternatives that the reason that we would say we can't see it? But regardless, it doesn't matter. It's all moot. Unless you have a physical model for all these things, including light and gravity and everything else, you can say what you want. This is just... So anyways, remember that when you hear that again. Light can't escape. Oh yeah, what's your model for light? How does that work? And how does that work for gravity? I mean, so gravity and light. What's your model? They don't have one. But the laws of physics say information can't be destroyed. That's funny because information isn't part of the universe. Matter or mass is. So maybe I want you as a critical thinker to throw away the information word because that's supposed to be cool and hip. But that cool and hipness information will be someday not cool and hip. So this is just a trend of, I won't say the word idiocy, okay? I didn't say that. But the laws of physics say information, we're going to change that, but the laws of physics say matter can't be destroyed. So if nothing can escape a black hole, can a black hole even exist? Yay! They're asking, okay. As much as the experts say they do, and of course he's going to argue against this, right? He's not going to cave in, right? And then in parentheses he says, and we should emphasize that they are winning this theoretical race by a pretty wide margin. Well, there you go. Weasel their way out. Scaredy cat, chicken, chicken, chicken. They are too afraid to actually say that, no, these guys are saying that they're winning a theoretical race. Guess what? Theoretical races don't exist. They're made up. Okay, anyways, we've still never seen one. Of course, then they say, well, they're winning the race, and they're saying they do exist. The experts say it. But we've still never seen one. Now you can see if you really read these why people go nuts, why people who are engineers, people who are critical thinkers, people who are science woke pick these things up and they just want to they laugh or they just throw it off. I'm trying to, if you're new to this game and you read all this stuff and it looks like everything's fine, no, I'm your science therapist, that's who I am, so you pay attention, I'm going to make you science woke. What if the hulking objects that form when a massive star collapses are really something else? That's what they are. That's what we think they are as well. What they're described as black holes are mathematical fantasies. They're real things, and they are very dense, but they're real things. When you start pondering that question, things get really weird. No, who said that they had to get weird? Why don't you come and look at some of our ideas of what black holes could be? And maybe they're not so weird at all. So they said things get really weird really quickly. Yeah, if you're in the theoretical land where they're in the particle physicists who spend their time hunting unicorns. Below are five alternatives to object as we know as black hole. Well, let's see what they have. Oh, wormholes. We've heard of that. The infinitely small point within a black hole is known as a singularity, and it's a mess for physicists. In 1925, Albert Einstein, Nathan Rosen pointed out that you might be able to avoid the idea of singularity if you extended the black hole to a second location. Why not, I guess. They write these things and they think about what they're saying. Oh, well, why not put like an elevator there? Why not put, oh, it's a train station? Why not put an escalator there? Why extend it to another place? What does that mean? Where do they come up with these ideas? I think that's why I'm really convinced that Albert Einstein and all these other people and all these theoretical physics do a lot of drugs. Black holes have an event horizon, a point of no return that surrounds the singularity and prevents information. Remember what I say, matter from escaping, causing that pesky matter-destroying issue known as a black hole. Click on that. I have the link below to this article. Click on it if you want. Don't waste your time, in my opinion. It is just ridiculous. Wormhole. Do something else. Go to the beach. Drink a beer. Do anything. Wormholes have no such event horizon. Instead, whatever goes in would come out the other side. Oh my gosh, let's keep reading. It's even possible that gravitational waves we've been detecting aren't from the collision of two black holes as we thought, but a collision of two wormholes. You know, why not? Why not? Everything's possible in the land of theoretical physics. Earlier this month, researchers from Belgium and Spain calculated that gravitational waves produced by two spinning wormholes running into each other would be very similar to generating those by merging black holes. So the one-horn unicorns, if they collide in the forest, they're very similar to the two-horn unicorns that have a hump when they also collide. So it could be either one of those. The only one problem is unicorns don't exist. The only difference would be in the echo they produce in the final moments. Gravitational waves were first detected. See, this is where good journalists would not say that. I'm trying to keep you science woke. These are bad journalists. Gravitational waves were said to have been detected, that's the way you would have to put it, by LIGO in 2015, but the device wouldn't have been strong enough to detect those echoes in the current configuration. Yeah, you know. I mean, come on, our unicorn detector. You know that stick that's like a Y, the divining rod where people used to go and say this is where water is because they had no way of finding it, so they pretended that somebody could do that. This is pretty much what they're doing here, yeah. But scientists think it's possible, and we may be looking for wormhole echoes soon. This is weird. Please, heaven help us all. Please. Fuzzballs. Okay, now it's even getting better. Yes, fuzzballs. To explain fuzzballs, we have to venture into the realm of string theory. String theory is an absolute fabrication. There are many books actually now, or numerous books on how string theory is. Look, the guys and gals who made up string theory at Caltech at Pasadena, I believe is where it happened, they did it as a mathematical, and they said from the beginning, this is a mathematical exercise. This has nothing to do with the reality. But you know, why not? You got to get your dissertation in something. And instead of people who are lucid, people who are critical thinkers, people who are science woke, when they go to the class and they hear about string theory, says, I'm not going into that profession, which is 99.99% of them. The other people who are left over are the ones who go into it, and I've got a video coming up on that, and that is going to be one of my most controversial videos ever, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe, folks, because it's coming. Fuzzballs are string theory's answer to the problem of black holes. Instead of a singularity surrounded by event horizon, the whole shebang is a tangled ball of strings with a fuzzy surface, more like a planet with a hole. Hey, to me, this ain't any more crazy than the Higgs particle or boson, the Higgs boson, or quarks, or WZ particles, or the neutrino. It ain't For me, they're all throw them out. So what happens if you fall into one? You're in a cartoon, or you're in somebody's imaginary computer program. That's what's happening, or onto one, as the case may be. Some say you'd hardly notice. The strings that make up your subatomic particles would combine with other strings to form longer strings with the same characteristics. In other words, you'd be turned into a copy of yourself embedded in the surface of the fuzzball. How you'd experience that is anyone's guess. I mean, I can't believe that this author would even entertain this. This is even a lucid, even a possible idea from the human race, let alone just sit there and just talk about it. Yeah, copy into yourself, and here it is. And here's the article. Oh, click on it. I mean, it's got a link right there. See it right there. Click on that tune stuff. There you go. Holy moly. Boson stars. Let's keep going. Speaking of subatomic particles, one contender for an alternative to the black hole is a star made of force carrier particles called bosons. While the matter particles, fermions, make up normal stars. That make up normal stars have to follow particular rules about how they arrange themselves. Of course, they read the manual. When they're born, they're given a manual. Bosons can huddle together so tightly that they can become one big collective particle called a boson. Bose-Einstein condensate, which we've made in the lab here on Earth. It's this mysterious stuff formed. If this mysterious stuff formed a star, it'd be a transparent donut-shaped blob that would emit no light but possess an intense gravitational pull. Kind of like what black holes are supposed to do. Yeah, you get it? Come on, Boson stars could mimic black holes, theorist Steve Lebling tells New Science. And it's possible that we are getting tricked. That's right. How would we know? Just like black holes, colliding boson stars would produce a telltale's echo that's sensitive enough the equipment might be able to detect. With what? The gravitational wave detectors. Even more exciting, the Event Horizon Telescope, which has already sent back data that scientists are currently analyzing, might end up showing us a picture of a boson star. Not. I will bet everything on this. I'll bet my house on this. It might look similar to a black hole. We haven't seen them. How could it look similar? We haven't seen one. It could look similar to the one we've never seen. But its transparent nature might mean we could see matter at its center. That's something you can't do with the black hole. But we haven't seen it, so what are you guys talking about? Oh, I remember. You're doing mushrooms. You're high. That's the only explanation I can have for something like this. The gravastar. Boson stars might be theoretical. It is so funny. He talks about gravitational waves being detected by LIGO, which he should say is theoretical. But he calls boson stars theoretical. Yeah, that one come on. Remember when we used to talk about strings the same way? It's all theoretical, it's all made up. No, now it's been around long enough. We talked it all long. We all believe it. It's sort of very religious in that sense. We do not think about it, and there's nothing against religion. It just means that you are told it, you have to accept it, and you cannot question it. So anyways, no such luck for gravitational vacuum condensate stars. Gravastar. Black holes are theorized to form when a massive star collapses into itself until it becomes a singularity. I'm sorry, I just have to laugh at these statements. Gravastars are also thought to form a collapsing star, except that early on in the collapse, the star's regular matter turns into exotic matter. Oh, wow. That keeps it from fully caving in, because... So, the gravastar... I came up with this idea. We don't think there could be a singularity. So I'm going to call it gravastar, and it's going to, and while it's collapsing, it's going to not collapse all the way. That way we don't get to the singularity. You're brilliant. Okay. Yeah, that's the same theoretical stuff that's supposed to be to keep wormholes open. By the way, I I, I got to do that whole video on why certain people go into physics, theoretical physics, and it ain't going to be pretty. And it ain't. I'm going to get make a lot of enemies in the particle physics world when I talk about it. I'm not the only one who thinks that, by the way. Anyways, the final product would be nearly as compact as a black hole, but not quite. Enough to form that a tricky event horizon. There you go. You got out of it, man. It's got the. I got the. Forget it. I can just make any name I want. Gravitational echoes. Okay, so researchers already analyzed gravitational waves for grav-star echoes in 2016. Of course they have. As a theoretical physicist, I'm always open to new ideas, no matter how exact. Professor Luciano Rossolo from the Goethe University in Germany said at the time, at the time, progress in physics takes place when theories are confronted with experiments. In this case, the idea of gravistars simply does not seem to match the observations. Let's see. Magnetospheric, eternally collapsing objects. I mean, this really sounds like New Age stuff for, like, transcendentalism or something. In 2006, a team of researchers peered 9 billion light years away from to check out a quasar, super bright compact object believed to be generated by a ravenous black hole. When the team probed the structure of quasar, however, something was amiss. The glowing accretion disk that surrounded the object was too wide, suggesting that it had been pushed out by magnetic forces. It also had wrong redshift, which of course we know by Halton Arp. And Halton Arp, of course, just take a look at there, and I talk about that. But who cares? A black hole shouldn't have a magnetic field, and this one clearly did. Of course, again, if you don't have any model for a magnetic field, who cares what you say? Because if you have no model, say whatever you want. It doesn't matter, because we don't even have a model of your own model to be able to test your idea. So throw it out. Anyways, that pointed to the likelihood that wasn't a black hole, but something called a MECO, a magnetosphere eternally collapsing object. The idea here is that the collapsing object gets super dense, super hot, and the radiation it produces creates outward pressure that prevents its collapse, leaving it as a hot ball of plasma rather than a black hole. It's hard to know how accurate the team's hypothesis is, though. We don't even know about black holes to know how different they are from MECOs, so definitive proof is still a long ways off. But you just said that we detected gravitational waves from two black holes hitting each other, and now you're saying that they may not exist. They may be. Anyways, this is from the website Curiosity, and this is really interesting. I thought I would end it here, but of course, get stories like this one in your inbox or your headphones. Sign up for a daily email. Subscribe to the Curiosity Daily podcast. If you can't get enough of this theoretical magic, that's why I did. I thought this phrase alone just tells you this is what particle physics is to these people. It's theoretical magic. And when they talk about it and it's all magical things, you get this it's fascinating. That's why we like Harry Potter, because it's this entire universe that the author made up in her mind and has all these rules. And, we can imagine that. And we think that's fascinating because it's different from our world. And there's magic because when you do certain things just do what you want. That's the way the universe should be. Wouldn't that be great? But anyways, if you can't get enough of this theoretical magic, become a particle physicist. Sorry, I had to say that. And then you can check out this book, blah, 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 a national best-selling physicist, Brian Greene. The Elegant Universe, Superstrings, garbage, hidden dimensions, more garbage, and the quest for the ultimate theory, whatever that means. Anyways, we handpicked reading recommendations we think you may like. And again, that's what this kind of article that we talked about is. This black holes might not exist, which I have to applaud them for at least saying that. But the weirder alternatives, this is just so cool because they're intellects. Remember what I say, what an intellect is. An intellect is a person who wants to appear smart. It's very different from a critical thinker, who is a person who can entertain anything without accepting it first, including all of mainstream science. and you make up your own mind. But remember, don't take my word for it. Stay critical, stay thinking. I am David D. Hilster. I am your science therapist trying to get you to the promised land of becoming science woke. Ciao for now.